Tonight on the broadcast, Israeli President warns America, will we make a bad agreement?
Warning, important news update. Warning.
Good evening. We have brought to you a special news report provided by NBC. Tonight we will be discussing a serious topic on the Asian brown cloud that covers the Arabian Sea, North India, the Bay of Bengal, the Indian Ocean, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and most of South Asia. However, we are here to warn you that it could grow if we don't stop it soon, which is why this newscast was brought to you. The Asian brown cloud is a cloud composed of black carbon, ash, sulfates, nerates, mineral dust, soot, carbon emissions, and smog. It is mainly man-made, caused by cooking on open fires, forest fires, factories, motor vehicles, the three top contributors being wood burning, fossil fuels, and factory fuels. This cloud doesn't just harm the environment, but precipitation in South Asia is based on monsoons, and this atmospheric cloud is affecting the annual monsoon patterns. This cloud blocks and soaks up sunlight, stopping the water cycle because of less sea evaporation, so no rain can fall when it's monsoon season from June to September annually, which affects the people of South Asia because they get even less water than they used to, affecting the growth of plants and the amount of drinking water, and water is vital to survive. The Asian brown cloud is 2 miles deep, stretching for tens of millions of square miles. However, temperatures in the upper atmosphere are higher, which is why Himalayan mountain glaciers are beginning to melt. Snow-capped mountains are also affected because the snow on top of them are melting rapidly. The Asian brown cloud usually occurs in the winter months as there is less rainfall during this season. During the monsoon season, the particles of the massive brown haze are trapped. In other words, the fronts from the monsoon overpower the cloud of pollution. During the season in which the brown cloud is exposed, more people become sickly with a cardiovascular or respiratory infection due to the pollution in the air which gets into their lungs. Large populations contribute largely to this Asian brown cloud because they all use cars, cook on open fires, and in urban areas they work in factories. Cars submit car emissions to the pollution of the cloud. Open fires submit soot and ash contributing to the cloud, and factories submit carbon emissions. And all these things combine and create a cloud full of pollution which harms our environment. All of this pollution goes somewhere, which is the Asian brown cloud. Larger populations just produce more pollutants, which builds up and adds more to the pollution to what was already there. However, cultural and religious beliefs compound this problem because as part of traditions and religion, people in India have been cooking dead people's bodies, because they believe that their body will rise up and they will be entered into a new lifetime where it's better and you're in God's hands, and they want to make sure they get there. However, this belief is actually harming the environment badly. They do this on an open fire, which creates soot buildup, adding to this problem. It is challenging for the governments to enforce and establish laws because some of it is due to religious culture and practices. Not to mention it could potentially harm businesses, in turn hurting the economy. A lot of this pollution is caused from fossil fuels and biomass produced in factories. Despite the fact that it is harming the environment, if companies and businesses had to develop and produce goods in a different way because the government fined them and charged them, they could become less efficient and productive, and the supply could decrease, potentially decreasing the demand and closing businesses, which also harms the economy. This indirectly affects people too. People would start to be unemployed because businesses close, and poverty rates would increase. It not only hurts people indirectly, but also directly because some of it is due to cultural beliefs. Some people have cooked dead bodies on open fires for generations after generations. It would not want to stop traditions. It would offend and hurt their culture. This cloud not only causes respiratory and cardiovascular issues in people, but because plants can't carry out the process of photosynthesis without sunlight and water, people's eating habits are also affected. They are no longer eating fruits and vegetables, but instead more meat, which harms people's diets. The government has made goals such as that of to put renewable energy into the hands of 2 billion people who don't have power. The majority of the world's population without power is in Asia, so they resorted into using non-renewable energy like fossil fuels, causing such a drastic increase in pollution in these areas. So this goal that the government put into place may not seem like it'll have a big impact, but it will, because of the amount of pollution caused by this issue. Such goals can go a long way. The International Agency for Research on Cancer also encourages the use of wearing a mask outside to prevent specific cancers and infections. However, this is not effective because most people don't own a mask and don't have enough money to purchase it or don't use it. The international communities promise a clean, safe Earth once again. However, one solution that can be used is to maybe have some sort of soot or smog trapper to store these dangerous pollutants. We could maybe store them in some sort of lab or recycle them in such a way that none of the particles will get into the air, harming the environment. To prevent health issues, maybe set laws that can only keep people outside for a set amount of time, like having a curfew in a way. In the summer months, when it's monsoon season, it is much safer to go outdoors, so maybe restrict that time in the winter, when the cloud is stronger and more severe. We could go to the government and suggest such laws. It would go through a process, and as long as it's approved, then these laws would be established and put into place. So, thank you so much for tuning into this special announcement. Remember, the end to this phenomenon begins here, now. You, me. We can make Earth healthy and clean again. Now back to Station 11.